on principalities broken. I'm loaning my heart and soul to the game that's scared to pay it back. And failure is a motherfucker. The strength to go on and believing in another sucker.
Man, it must be Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, or as my co-host likes to say, Happy Gentleman's Talk Wednesday. So you already know what it is. I am, of course, the CEO of FRFO. I am the one that they call Mr. GQ.
I am your friendly neighborhood DJ Michael B. And as my co-host said, Happy Gentleman's Talk Wednesday. It must be Gentleman's Talk because you heard In Your Zone by Jew Fresh come through your airwaves just now. Boy, I'm ready.
Man, it feel kind of weird. We back on this just you and I thing. It's almost like we almost forget that we have a normal traditional show with just two of us. But we got a somewhat packed show today. We'll get you guys rocking and rolling, man. We have got so much craziness going on out there. But I want to start first and foremost with the UFC. Let's just go there. So
let's get it.
So I was watching UFC Fight Night, which thank goodness, it was a great card, by the way. Like, I don't want to take away from the card. The card was great and it was free. It was free. On ESPN Plus, it was free. So I was watching this while I was also watching all the copious amounts of college football that was also going on, which means I had to stay up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch this damn Colorado State game. But that's neither here nor there. We'll save that for the Friday show. But
that sucks.
it was a solid card. And just real quick, I wanted to run through a couple of fights on this thing that really stuck out. And first and foremost, the Raul Rojas and Terrence Mitchell fight was phenomenal. And it was phenomenal because it was a first round knockout, 54 seconds in.
Beautiful.
It looked like a fight that started off with just bombs being thrown. And you were like, all right, you couldn't tell. Mitchell came out kind of aggressive, but then, boy, Raul Rojas said, "Now I'll catch this hook real quick." Put that boy to Snoozeville, USA. A fight that had a lot of implications in the welterweight, the co-main event, which you had Kevin Holland, who was going toe-to-toe with Jack Della Mandolina. So reason this was a big deal is because Kevin Holland is like the UFC's workhorse guy. Like, this man takes fights on short notice. He fights like 4 to 6 times a month. Like, dude does not care. He's like, hey, I'm trying to pay my bills. I'm trying to make a living. I'll fight anybody.
I don't blame him.
Had he won this fight, this would have vaulted him in a position to start being in the discussions of a welterweight title fight. He lost this fight via decision. I don't disagree with the decision. It was a close fight, but when you really go back and look at it, Jack won the first and arguably the third. Kevin won the second, and then the third, I guess, depending on how you want to play the game, could have went either way. But Jack was the better fighter in this fight. That would be a phenomenal trilogy fight. I'll tell you that right now. Between those two, it would be a great fight. But the controversy at hand, title fight. You had Valentina Shevchenko, phenomenal fighter. 17-time Muay Thai / kickboxing champion,
world-class fighter
of all time, going up against Alexia Grasso, the pride of Mexico, because this also was the beginning of Mexican Independence Month and all this other stuff. It was on Mexican Independence Day for this particular card, so all this stuff was going on. Big deal, packed stadium, and then the decision happened. The decision was a draw. It was a majority draw, and the problem with the draw, had you just said it was a normal draw, I guess it would have been okay, but it's the controversy of the fact that one of the judges scored the card 10-8. Everybody else had it 10-9, 10-9, and you had one judge that scored it 10-8. And I'm telling you right now, there was not a single round, that was a 10-8. Not like that. That was a solid fight. You had, in my opinion, I had Shevchenko winning the fight. From watching the fight, I think she won the first, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. That's the way I had it. Like, I think she did enough. Where Grasso had an advantage is that she did score a knockdown on Shevchenko off of a very nice counterpunch. And she had, I want to say 2 takedowns, but Shevchenko had 5 takedowns, and she controlled the ground game for most of this fight. And in the 5th round, when Shevchenko was getting ready to take her down for like the 6th time, Grasso at the last second had pulled a beautiful counter, brought her to the ground, and was basically and controlled a good chunk of the 5th. But all in all, when you look at it, strike for strike, all the things like that, I feel like Shevchenko did enough to win the fight. Normally, we know this being UFC fans that you do have to perform better than the champion in the championship rounds to win the fight. You just do.
Absolutely.
So when people get upset, when like, oh man, that guy should have beat like John Jones or some shit like that. Hey man, look at the championship rounds. That's rounds 4 and 5 for those of you who don't watch enough UFC. So in the 4th and 5th round, I do think Shevchenko did enough to win that fight. I did not like the decision. I hated the 10-8. I thought that was a load of shit. And excuse me. Apparently, so did a lot of people, because now the fight commission in Denver, in Colorado, has all the officials at 10-8 training.
Wow.
That just came out today. Ariel Harwani had posted that earlier today, and I was like, it's funny how that happens. But do we have an officiating problem in UFC?
Hell yes, we do. Hell yes, we do. It's been apparent for a while. I mean, we saw it with the Izzy fight. Izzy was good, and it was like, well, the ref stopped it and he lost, but I mean, clearly the ref stopped and Izzy was perfectly fine, and that shit really ran me hot. Thank God I didn't bet money on that fight, because I damn sure was about to. So
yeah,
last minute I didn't bet.
I do think we have a serious problem with early stoppages.
Yeah,
like I feel like if and I think a lot of it too is a lot of the officials that that the UFC has aren't trained fighters themselves. So at the end of the day, do they know what they're looking at and looking for? Especially in submissions. I think in submissions it's more of a thing, because if you've got a guy let's say you got a guy in a standing headlock up against the cage. All right. And I watched this actually happen in a fight, in a UFC fight. I can't remember the two guys that were fighting, but the official treated it as if it was a WWE match. And here's why. He said they're asking him, hey, are you okay in there? Hey, are you good? That's the first part. Oh, I'm not done. Then he proceeds to grab this individual's arm and pick it up, and his arm dropped. And then he called the fight. Okay, listen. That is not how you pull this off in a UFC fight.
Absolutely not.
Listen, I am not a professionally trained fighter. I'm not. But I will tell you this. What I do know from the training I have and from listening to the commentators, listening to other individuals who have this discipline, have much more skill set than you or I do. When you're in a submission in a fight like this, the first thing you are taught to do is to relax. Don't let anything tense up, because if you tense up, you're allowing that cutting off of the oxygen to happen. So this guy went limp, not in a manner where he fell, but he went limp. He didn't tighten up his shoulders. He didn't tighten up his arms. He let his arms dangle. He stayed loose, because if he would have stayed tight, he would have exhausted certain parts of the body.
Yeah.
Which means if I keep cranking and you keep, and you start tensing up, you're going to get tired before I do. You're hoping that the individual that has you in the headlock hits what's called muscle exhaustion, or arm exhaustion, as I like to say, where you're like, all right, I can't do anymore, and you end up letting go because you can't get the choke out. So that's what this individual did. He was up against a cage. He had his arms dangled, like he was relaxed as best he could. He was focusing on just not panicking. The official is the one who panicked, because he saw the man's arm drop and thought, first of all, if he was out, you would have seen it, because as soon as he let him go, the dude was still standing. Like, the difference is, like, when John Jones choked out Rashad Evans from that stand-up position, his ass fell to the floor.
Oh, hell yeah. Completely different.
He said good night. Big difference. When this individual let this guy go, he was still standing. Like, he was fine. He was doing what his corner had taught him, what his fight camp taught him. When you're in a position like that, relax. When someone takes your back and they're going for that, going for that rear naked choke, you have to relax. Yes, you want to control the wrists, control the hands. You don't want them to lock that in. You want to keep your chin down, because you don't want them to get underneath the chin. You're going to have to eat some of them shots, but you want to stay calm and relaxed. And this is what they're talking about. These officials need more training, or they just need to train themselves, and they'll understand what it is to deal with submissions and things of that sort. And maybe you can make better decisions. This is the things that were said, during this fight. And I was like, I agree. I don't disagree with that one bit. So that's what we had there. But while we're on the subject of UFC, I want to preview UFC 294, because it is by far one of the most stacked cards this year. And I'm a big fan of it. So right off the rip, you've got the main event itself. You've got the lightweight title on the line. You have got Charles Oliveira, the man, the myth, the legend, going head up against the champ Islam and Makhachev. So I'm looking forward to that fight. That's going to be a nasty fight. It's going to be great. The co-main event, you got a middleweight bout between Kazmat Chimaev and Paulo Costa. Two lightning quick, dangerous strikers, submission specialists, you name it, these two individuals got it. I expect nothing but fireworks. Wouldn't be surprised if the co-main event ended up being better than the main event because that's the type of fighters that these two are. Point blank.
Good Lord. That thing's all the way in October? Damn.
Yeah, October 21st. So the next UFC event, is you got Fight Night around the corner, which is September 23rd, which is this weekend, actually.
Yeah.
One of the most notable fights on that upcoming card is the women's strawweight division. You've got Marina Rodriguez and Michelle Waterson Gomez, who's been around for a very long time. She's clearly been married now because she's added a hyphenated Gomez to it. Rafael Fizev and Masters Gamarot are also fighting in the lightweight main event. Co-main event is a featherweight fight between Bryce Mitchell and Dan Ige, which actually is going to be an electric fight between two very fast fighters. So that I wouldn't be surprised if that particular one didn't make it out the first round. That looks like it could be a very fast-paced, fast fight. A fight to keep your eyes on this particular card is the welterweight bout between Brian Battle and AJ Fletcher, two 10-2 fighters. Very good, well-rounded fighters. Very interesting styles, so it could make for an extremely exciting fight at that particular time. So I'll be keeping an eye on that. I'll tap into that one as time goes on. You also have Fight Night October 7th, which has, let's see here. The main event is another lightweight fight between Grant Dawson and Bobby Green. So that'll be a power striker versus a submission specialist. Should be a pretty interesting fight. Abdul Razak Allah Hassan, great fighter in the middleweight division, fighting against Joe Pfeiffer, great up-and-coming fighter, 11-2. Very experienced in the octagon, great from his back, great submission specialist. So two really good fights as well on that upcoming fight card for October 7th around the corner as well. So something to keep your eyes on, ladies and gentlemen.
A lot.
So
much.
So let's get to the wilding out. Now that it is official that the WWE and the UFC have officially become one, aka in TKO. Most notably, if you guys were paying attention, you had Bianca Belair and Montez Ford downtown to take pictures and everything with that event, which is a big deal. So how does WWE follow up such a major thing? They say, let's pull out all the stops. You had John Cena come back, first and foremost, right before a major pay-per-view, and all of a sudden he ends up hosting Payback, which, first, let me just say that was a rush job.
Yeah.
Because it didn't look good. Like, John Cena is usually pretty good. He's still great on the mic. But you can tell that the hosting gig was kind of rushed because he didn't prepare the way I'm accustomed to him being prepared for stuff like that. Because it felt rushed. Like, it felt very last minute. Like, it didn't go off the way the WWE Premium Live event should go. So there's that. Then he follows that up and he makes his appearances on Friday Night SmackDown. And lo and motherfucking behold, we have Monday Night Raw.
Monday Night Raw.
Chronological order, because the way this shit happened was crazy. So, of course, you had John Cena come back that Friday before. You had Payback go down. Not a bad pay-per-view. Could have been better. It is what it is. Whatever. We move on to something better. But Monday night rolls around. Normal Monday Night Raw. Everything's going well. Not a bad card. Comes the main event. You got Raquel Rodriguez going toe-to-toe with Rhea Ripley, the champ. Great match. Hard-hitting match.
Very good match.
Two of the strongest women in the women's division doing what they do best. One of the few wrestlers that Rhea Ripley can't bully. Let's call it what it is. And 97% of the way through this match, you've got Rhea Ripley on the mat. No, I'm sorry. You have Raquel on the rope, and all of a sudden, someone grabs her and throws her and slams her. Lo and behold, Nia Jax makes her return to WWE. So
ridiculous.
Nia Jax interferes in this match, destroys Raquel, goes in the ring, destroys Rhea Ripley, and just right on fucking schedule, does what she's always done and be one of the most reckless wrestlers in the business, because now your champion Rhea Ripley is currently injured right now. She just got back. She's already injured the champ, and she just got back. Like, come on now.
She has a horrible track record.
She does, and you literally just injured the champ, and I don't know if it was from the headbutt or if it was from the finisher when she sat on her chest, because she just kind of sat there for a while. I don't know which one it was, but Rhea Ripley did not make an appearance on NXT that following night. She also didn't make an appearance on Friday Night SmackDown, and she did not make an appearance this past NXT, which was just yesterday as well.
Yep.
I was watching because Dominic Mysterio was there by himself. So I'll get back to the NXT part of this here in a minute. Insert Friday Night SmackDown. We had no idea what to expect because all of us sports fans were preparing for Colorado and Colorado State. All the interviews, everything was dope. And then all of a sudden, we get Big Noon's doing their interview stuff, talking with them. He's on the Pat makes an appearance on First Take. Pat McAfee's talking to him. Dwayne Johnson, like everybody's making these crazy appearances on ESPN. No one puts two and two together. The Big Noon and all these shows are in Colorado, and Friday Night SmackDown is in Denver, Colorado. So we're in Boulder and Denver. So the show kicks off, and lo and behold, Pat McAfee makes that hour-long drive and makes his return onto Friday Night SmackDown.
Beautiful, by the way.
Fantastic. Interrupts the big homie, of course, in Austin Theory. Hate him if you want to. He's doing his job as a heel. He's playing that very good, young, arrogant heel role, and he's generating a perfect amount of heat. And I think it's going very well. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of him as far as a heel, but that's the point of being a heel. As far as his in-ring ability, I think he has solid in-ring ability. I think he has good chemistry. I think he's good on the mic. I think he's a good young up-and-coming superstar for WWE. 100%.
Superstar in the making, for sure.
So first, you got the history that Pat McAfee and Austin Theory have already had. They had the WrestleMania match. They had all the stuff. Phenomenal match. Like, they did all the things. And Austin Theory is just running his mouth. I mean, just running. Tells the crowd, y'all suck. The people this, that, and the third, saying all the wrong things. Insert one of the most electrifying theme song drops, crowd pops of all time, and The Rock makes his epic return. The crowd goes insane. It is deafening on the TV, probably in Denver, Colorado.
I am 100% sure there was no pipe noise piped in for that. That was people just exploding. That was ridiculous.
For somebody like The Rock. So The Rock comes back. He does what he does best. Drops a phenomenal on the mic. Got to give Austin Theory his props. He holds his own too. He actually did catch The Rock with one of his own catchphrases, which was funny.
Yeah.
He asked a lot of questions, and he's like, "It doesn't matter." I was like, all right. But The Rock, in The Rock's true fashion, does what no other superstar in WWE can do. And this is why I've always said this. When it comes to the crowd, no one moves the crowd better than The Rock. You can say, oh, Steve Austin was more popular, this, that, and the third. Sure. If you want to say that because the crowd still says what, knock yourself out. But when it comes to legitimate crowd interaction, The Rock owns it. The Rock owns crowd interaction because he simply said, all right, this is what's going to happen. When I count down from 3, this side over here is going to say you are, and this side here is going to say an asshole. And he counted down, and literally and it was booming. No other wrestler has that type of interaction with the crowd that is that perfect. This isn't rehearsed. It's beautiful how he's able to control the WWE universe like this. No other superstar in history has ever been able to do it this way.
It's crazy to think because we are almost 2 decades removed from The Rock being like in his true prime. And when he returns, and it's a new generation, they still react the same way we did. Like they know exactly who The Rock is. YouTube exists. They know exactly what's going on. And The Rock still has the crowd in the palm of his hands.
A lot of this younger generation never got to see the Attitude Era like we did. Because
that's what I'm saying.
So most of these kids, they've seen him on just movies. You've seen him in all the Fast movies. You've seen him in Rampage. You've seen him in the Skyscraper movie. You probably seen him in Hobbs and Shaw. You've seen him in Ballers, right? Ballers is the one he did, when he was the agent. Great show, by the way. If you haven't watched
Great show.
that might be one of the best things that Dwayne Johnson has ever done. Ballers is a phenomenal show, and it definitely peels back the curtain as far as like the world of being a sports agent and dealing with athletes and the dumb shit that they do. Because I ain't gonna lie, I would have really considered cutting Vernon off.
Hell yeah.
Because Vernon was he had his boy all up in his ear, and I was like,
Vernon was fucking up.
Yeah, then all the pictures, and then the broke it when the pictures at the strip club and all that shit with the I'm like, bro, really? Like, and and you know what's crazy? I guarantee you half of that shit that happened in Ballers probably doesn't happen in real life more often than not. But
it happens all the time.
But let me not deviate too far. So you've had that. So now, before we dive into the last part of the WWE stuff, what are your initial thoughts and ideas of having John Cena and The Rock back in what seems like a little bit more than a part-time thing for the time being? Like, what are you thinking?
I'm pretty sure they're going to do something with the bloodline, or what's left of the bloodline anyway, with The Rock. With John Cena, I don't know. I thought John Cena's last time was going to be putting Austin Theory over, and he probably wouldn't be back.
The basketball goats come from Philly, Kobe, and Will. That's because we watched WWF as a kid, and we are bringing our families to these shows now since we're old enough to buy our own tickets.
Big facts.
That's for damn sure. Because
when I went to
the Rumble right before COVID, man, that shit was fire. And I've been fortunate as a kid. I went to see the Rumble right before COVID, but as a young poor kid from the hood, the fact that I was able to go watch WrestleMania at the Compaq Center in Houston, first time I was ever on a limo, I was like, this is the greatest day of my life. Like, I left school early. My mom checked me out of school. I was in a limo that was stocked with sodas and Powerades and all this shit. And I was like, as kids, when we watch somebody in the limo, we over here trying to look out the window, like, oh, who the fuck in that limo?
Hell yeah.
Say I'm dropped. We in downtown Houston. I'm like, bro, everybody looking at me like I'm somebody important. I was like, this shit's kind of dope. So he's right.
GQ was born that day. I truly believe GQ was born that day.
There's a better than good chance that I was born that day. Because boy, I felt like I was Ric Flair back in that day. Boy, I felt like I was styling and profiling. I was like, well, and I'm like, I imagine myself. I'm like, bro, and we, as adults, you and I still have not been able to go. We haven't gone to a WrestleMania together yet. We haven't gone to a WWE event together yet. We gotta
go to a WrestleMania, but it probably won't be for another 2 years. I think next year is supposed to be overseas again, right?
We've also missed our opportunities for some of these Raws and SmackDowns that have been in Houston and like San Antonio and shit. But good thing for us, they always come back around. So,
yeah, because they love Houston.
I mean, who they love Texas. That's the thing. They don't just come here and come to Houston. They go to Houston. They go to Dallas. They go to San Antonio. I remember they went to Fort Worth one time. They went to El Paso before. And they went to Austin. They can do 7 or 8 shows. And
because Texas has land for convention centers.
I remember one time during the Attitude Era that they did it. They went to Amarillo for a show.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, they went all the way to Amarillo. I was like, that's far. I said I just came back from Amarillo because
that's uncharted territory for us down here in southeastern Texas. We don't go there
now. You know what I'm saying? My granny moved down here, so that's why we went to Amarillo. We went to go pick up my granny. So now the whole family down here. But so
I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the plan is for John Cena.
As a fan, what would you like to see? Because you can't insert him in the title picture because you just have this feeling that they're about to eventually start tying The Rock to the bloodline storyline. So, but you also can't involve him in the title picture with Seth Rollins because Seth and Shinsuke are in a hell of a fucking feud right now.
Love that feud, by the way.
Do you put him in the title picture against Gunther?
I guess you could throw him back in the picture for Intercontinental or US, but
who the hell is currently the US champion?
Man, I cannot because oh my god, shoot!
I was just thinking about that, and I was like, because the U.S. title's not on. It's not defended as much. Like
ever since Austin Theory basically dropped it. I forgot who he dropped it to. I forgot who he dropped it to.
In the game with the Intercontinental Championship. Oh, you sure right. It is Rey Mysterio.
It's Rey Mysterio, yeah.
Because it was supposed to be Santos Escobar in that, and then he got injured, and Rey stepped in.
Yeah,
So
Absolutely. That's it.
let's see what's going on here. Since I'm from Philly, I used to go to ECW as a kid. Hey man, ECW shows was fucking
ECW
wild.
was the shit.
I just started to go to WWE in 2018. Cena and I'm looking forward to that Cena and Seth match in Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia. That's gonna be a dope ass match. Like that's gonna be fun to watch.
I'm
But
guessing their plan is to use Cena to help put over
yeah,
people, but I
but
mean,
that's the
if
thing.
you're
Like, okay, he doesn't need. Obviously, he doesn't need to put Ray over. Gunther's already over. Gunther doesn't need any help. He's good. He's the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion now. He's
he
already
already
set up to
put
have another match
over
with them. Now, I love the fact that they have him and Chad Gable still going toe to toe like that because I feel like what they're doing for Chad Gable is what they should have also done for Shelton Benjamin, but they just never could. So I'm glad that Gable's getting this kind of run late in his career. And I won't be surprised if they decide to have Gunther drop the title because I do think Gunther's about to enter the title, the main title picture.
Oh yeah, no
Like,
doubt, no doubt.
I definitely think there's a chance that he could win the Rumble. There's a chance they could have Gunther drop the belt, win the Rumble, and but the other issue we have, because there's so many stories that are like looped together and like kind of convoluted, because you've still got everything going on with Cody Rhodes. Is he ever gonna finish the story? Because it had a whole bunch of momentum and then he lost, and it's like then the Brock thing happened, and we're like, all right, and then now what? Like
The Brock thing was stupid. I think Cena and Waller might be next in steering Waller. Okay.
That's true because right now they love claiming their undefeatedness as a tag team. I think they've only had like 2 fucking matches, but I do like Grayson Waller too. Grayson Waller's another one of those. He came from NXT. He's homegrown.
Yeah.
I was a fan of his work on NXT, but I mean, you know me, I'm a big fan of NXT. I love a lot of the talent down there. Most of your current stars and champions are NXT.
Came from NXT. Yeah.
Like Seth Rollins, Gunther came from NXT UK. Like Rhea Ripley came from NXT, Becky Lynch came from NXT, like, and she's currently the NXT Women's Champion. So like most of your major Roman came from NXT. Like these are all like this is all Triple H and Shawn Michaels' babies that are your main staples currently.
Speaking of NXT, speaking of NXT, who did they put John Cena on NXT?
I don't know.
Speaking of,
I like. Hey, look, a match between Cena and Carmelo Hayes would be pretty fire. I won't even lie to you. But right now, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't know how much you've watched NXT recently, but the storyline between Carmelo and Dragunov has been phenomenal. Dragunov is gonna be great. He's gonna be a great main roster addition when he comes to the mix. He's like a much more athletic version of Finn Balor, but less boring on the mic.
Yep.
Because he goes into these like fits of rage, and it is like it's beautiful. Like Ilya Dragunov, and his character's perfect. I think he has a solid character that would fit well on the main roster, and hopefully, and I like that where Triple H is in the position he's in. So somebody like Dragunov, somebody like Carmelo Hayes, who's going to be another one. He's going to be another lights out individual when he makes his main roster jump eventually as well. Like WWE has got a wealth of talent upcoming. Because I tell you right now, and I've said this, and I will continue to stand on this, NXT still has the best women's division in wrestling. Better than Raw, better than SmackDown. NXT's women's division is lights out. It is lights out. And you've still got 5 or 6 women down there that people still don't know about, but they're phenomenal. Let's see what he's talking about. Did y'all see Brandy? Yeah. I actually did see that. Like, I want to see Brandy Rhodes bring her ass to WWE too, because she really do be. She's very she's feisty. She's run off at the mouth a lot. And she's very vocal on social media. So I actually would not mind seeing Brandy Rhodes eventually come to WWE. What they would do with her, I'm not sure. If I'm being honest, because I'm like, I watched her. I watched a little bit. I don't watch a lot of AEW because I'm really not as big of a fan of AEW like most people.
I'm not either.
I had to give it a chance because you never want to, because I was, like our man over here, basketball goat's talking about. I was a big fan of ECW. ECW was phenomenal.
You're damn right.
AEW took everything that ECW does as like their specialty matches and made it their main matches. So they've already watered down like these barbed wire matches and these glass breaking like there's so much blood that happens. Like it's not as compelling. The wrestling isn't bad. It's just all in all, the totality of the product is just not as good. But it's still good as a alternate option if you just if you wanted to watch some wrestling and it's on TV. You can still watch AEW and still get some pretty good entertainment. Like, some of the GOATs are still on there. Sting is still on that show. Samoa Joe is still over there. Chris Jericho.
Samoa Joe, man.
Samoa Joe's currently a champion on that show. Actually, he's the TNT champ, I believe it is. You've got freaking he just left. Cesaro is the Ring of Honor champion. So he's a champion over there. Bryan Danielson is up and down. He was champ, then he wasn't. He's kind of lost all his popularity. He's nowhere near as popular as he was in WWE. When he went to AEW, he was great for the first, I'm gonna say 4 months, but then he went downhill. Like he's just like a regular guy now.
He lost momentum.
Now, Jon Moxley blew up. Dean Ambrose, aka, he blew up over there. He was a huge
shout out to the Shield
over there. But I still think, and I hope that one day he'll make his way back to WWE, because I think he did something similar to what Cody did. He went over there, he blew up, and he's one of the bigger stars over there, does his thing great on the mic, gotten much better on the mic, by the way. Puts on compelling matches. Like there's, Hangman Adam Page is also over there. Really good cat. Of course, we talk about in our chat, we talk about MJF all the time. And not to mention, I was going to call him Adam Pierce. Adam from NXT. I have his face. Adam Cole. Sorry. Adam Cole from the era and all that stuff. So him and MJF were tag team champions over there. Then of course MJF was a champion. So a lot of talent spread out across the globe. But let's talk about. I'm gonna bring this back now. So rumor has it, Monday Night Raw, Triple H is going to announce the next big signing, the next big thing. So everything that's been going on is that Jade Cargill is going to be is at the Performance Center already, and is going to be signing with WWE and is going to make her debut on Monday Night Raw. So, of course, the very first thing that everybody talks about, when are we going to get Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair? And I'm like, I mean, that's cool. It'd be a great match. But I'd like to see them as a tag team.
Fucking right.
I'd like to see them just flat out dominate the women's tag division, like dead ass. But at the same time, I'm glad that Jade Cargill's at the performing center, because she does need work on her mic skills. Her mic skills need much improvement. Her promo ability is not there, and if you can't cut a good promo, you really can't be good in WWE.
Absolutely not.
Her promos are like somebody with 2 left feet on the dance floor. So they do need work, but I think she can get better. But here's the beauty of it, is I think she would benefit very well. And I've said this about, and me and DJ Prime and Big Homie Cam was talking about this, because we were talking about the Seth and Shinsuke feud and stuff. And we were like, and I talked about, like, WWE has always struggled with promoting and, getting behind a foreign champion, especially one where there's like a language barrier. And I'm like, somebody like Shinsuke would definitely benefit from having a manager that's basically his mouthpiece, similar to what like Lana did for Rusev. Lana did the thing, Rusev didn't talk much. Rusev just put on great matches and beat people's asses. And I think the same can be done for a guy like Shinsuke, because I do think Shinsuke is a phenomenal talent, but the language barrier is a turnoff for the traditional American wrestling fan. For us, super fans, if you will, we don't give a shit who the champion is. We just care about are you compelling or not. And I think Shinsuke would be a great champion, but when you listen to him talk, and I think he needs to be a heel champion. I think he needs to be a villain. So you remember watching back in the day, you remember Bloodsport?
Yeah, of course.
I think if they pushed him in a role similar to the main villain in that movie, like Chun-Li, I think it'd be phenomenal. Don't talk much. Just when he talks, it's like, 7 to 10 words about how I'm gonna beat your ass, but not obviously I'm gonna beat your ass, but then have a phenomenal manager. Obviously, Paul Heyman can't be that guy, so it's got to be someone else, but it's somebody who's just his mouthpiece. And I think he could be a great champion for a long time.
You remember Taka and Funaki, they had the guy that was going around with them for a while for the language barrier purpose. I can't remember the announcer's name, but
yeah, I don't remember the name, but I remember what you're talking about.
They need something. Shinsuke probably needs something like that just to help push him to the next level. And you're right, it can't be Paul Heyman. It absolutely can't.
No, Paul Heyman is. I mean, we need to find another manager like that. And now Paul is one of one, but there have been enough great. We don't have enough great managers anymore. Like there was a point in time during the Attitude Era where there was like 4 or 5. Even say what you want, Vicky Guerrero was a great manager. She was annoying as
Hell
shit.
yes.
She was a great manager. Teddy Long was a great manager before he became a GM. Like Eric Bischoff played that role for a little bit. Paul Heyman, of course, played that role for a bit. I'm missing a couple. There were a few other ones that I was always a big fan of just watching.
I like Paul Bearer.
Kurt Angle was a manager for a little bit for the A-Team.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And Chad Gable, he was a manager. Yep. They did the whole A-Team tag thing. He was basically a manager for a bit. And Chavo was a manager for a while for Eddie and Ray before everything fell apart. So it's like we haven't had an abundance of managers anymore. Like, and well, I guess right now we've got what, Heyman and MVP. Yep. Those are your main ones, because Chad Gable was having to be manager / talent with the Alpha Academy. And then you brought in Maxine Dupree from all the dumb shit they did with LA Knight and the Maximum Male Models dumb shit. So now she's carving out a role of her own, but she's not ready to be a mouthpiece yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then you've got like Scarlett. Scarlett was a mouthpiece for Karrion Kross, hitting, but off and on. A lot of people don't know that that's actually a husband and wife in real life.
I definitely didn't know that.
That's husband and wife in real life. So when they got fired together, it was like very ironic that you fired a married couple. But yeah, speaking of, double unemployment. But speaking of that, we were talking about all the talent coming in. So the next major bits of firing are also coming up for WWE.
Yep.
And some of the rumors that have come about is Hit Row maybe on the chopping block again, which I think Hit Row was a terrible experiment gone wrong. I think that's another area WWE has failed in, is trying to put these hip hop style groups together. It just doesn't work. Like there's really and truly, there's no true formula that's going to work for a hip hop.
No,
because even with Crime Time, at least
I loved Crime Time as a kid, though. At least
they could wrestle and they were good on the mic.
Yeah.
The best hip hop / street style group we've had has been the Street Profits, without question. Well, the Hurt Business and then the Street Profits. I think the Hurt Business was overall for the time being was better. Now this whole Hurt Profits thing, that right there. And then with the rumors of potentially,
I love it.
Carmelo Hayes joining this group as well. Just saying, or Trick Williams, which, by the way, have you seen his entrance?
Trick Williams?
Yeah.
No.
Dog. So all right. So he comes out, right, and this happened the first time because him and Carmelo split up mutually, no feud or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he comes out to his first entrance, and the crowd starts saying, "Whoop that Trick!" Like,
oh my god,
bro, his entrance is absolutely fucking fire. Like, I was like, all right, so there's rumors of that coming into the fold as well.
By the way, since we're on the topic of Trick Williams, the Judgment Day is just trying to recruit every damn body right now.
They tried to recruit Trick Williams. They trying to recruit Jey Uso. We still got this other confusing thing going on with Donahue, which another NXT talent, big time favorite. I was a big fan of his as well. You've got Schism on NXT that was also trying to enlist Trick Williams' services. So a lot of interesting. I love what Triple H is doing. He loves staples. So I love that we have an abundance of good stables coming up in WWE. I love the Judgment Day. I love what's left. I love the Bloodline is still one of the greatest factions of all time.
Oh, for sure.
Like when it's all said and done, because none of the other factions we've had in WWE has had more layers to a story than this. Not Evolution, not D-Generation X, not the NWO, not the Legion of Darkness, not the what's the one that The Rock and Godfather and all the
Nation of Domination.
Yeah, and then the Ministry of Darkness.
Yeah,
Brood, the Dudleys, the Hardys. No one has had a better, more compelling, more entertaining overall story that lasted this long. The Bloodline has it hands down, and it's not close. It's not even close. Because if you think about how the bloodline story started, it just started with Roman. It was just Roman and Paul. Roman came back. He destroyed Braun Strowman in the Fiend. That's how he came back. And it just kept building and building. Insert the cousins. I want to enlist my cousins. Oh, all right, cool. Y'all don't want to get down? Then I'm going to fight you. All right, Jey Uso, you want to get in? Cool. Jimmy, I'm going to beat your ass. Like, it just kept building. All of a sudden, now you got all three brothers. You got Solo on NXT doing his thing. Phenomenal, boss. I ain't gonna lie to you. Solo by himself on NXT was lights the fuck out. He put on some. If that is not a carbon copy of Umaga, I don't know what the fuck is.
It's definitely a carbon copy of Umaga.
Like everything but the face paint. That's what he really doesn't do. Like phenomenal NXT, great matches. He put together. He lived up to the name of the street champion. Like he's gonna be a really good Solo, no pun intended, superstar when it's all said and done.
He will.
Because I think he's solid. He's another one that'll benefit. I think what may happen, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But like I said, insert the Solo thing, and then you start trying to figure out, are they going to bring in, like Nia Jax, or bring in Tamina, or bring in Naomi? But of course, then the whole Naomi Sasha thing happened, and that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And then you got the bloodline just dominating. Insert Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. Now all of a sudden, Sami Zayn is in the bloodline, and it's like this. The story just kept going.
And it's still going.
And it's still fucking going. And it's going to go all the way until at least WrestleMania.
Yep.
The question
Especially
becomes,
with The Rock coming back.
Well, the question now becomes, is it going to be just The Rock versus Roman without a title on the line? Like, is Roman going to drop the title prior to this? Or is it going to be a true head of the table? This is for all the marbles, like, Samoan fight pit type of match between The Rock and Roman for the title for all the marbles. Are they even remotely going to consider giving The Rock one last title run? Like, that's where my head is going. Are they thinking about truly giving The Rock one last title run? And if you do, how long is it going to last? Because when is Hollywood going to come back calling? Because this man is doing a lot. The XFL starts shortly after WrestleMania. Like, there's a lot going on. So it's like, this should just be a match. There shouldn't be a title on the line, because I don't know if The Rock's going to have the time. Because on top of all that, we're going to talk about this on the Friday show. I posted this in the group. The XFL and the USFL are in conversations to merge. That's already becoming a thing. So it's only getting bigger. So The Rock's time is precious.
I think The Rock's time is going to be limited. Maybe. What are we in? September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months. So maybe 7 months to a year, and after that he'll be done. So I don't know if they have any plans on making Roman drop the belt during that time.
I don't know if they. I wonder if they're gonna have him break that record. If they're gonna have him, which is still, he's got a long time to go before he breaks the all-time record. But I also think if they're gonna do it, they're doing it because I don't think Roman's gonna wrestle much longer.
I don't think so either.
Because, well, the rumors of him going to Hollywood and everything else, and with his medical stuff that some people know, some people don't, and the schedule, and he's also a girl dad as well. So it's like, I could see where Roman would be essentially done, and then that leads me to what would happen next is that Paul Heyman would take Solo under his wing and build Solo up. Now, he doesn't have to build Solo up as a main title holder, but he could do it as a as a US champ or Intercontinental champ. He could definitely do that and be great at it, So there's that. And now we talk about John Cena. I don't know how much time John Cena's got.
I don't even know what John Cena's doing.
Well, he's going to Saudi Arabia because his tour is going to last for a hot minute. But, he just came off of that movie he did with Jackie Chan. Great movie, by the way, if you guys haven't seen it. He had some other projects in the works, but there's also, we got to remember, guys, there's a writer's strike going on. Hollywood ain't producing shit because the writers are on strike. So maybe he has more time than we think. I really want to see a season 2 of Peacemaker. I'll tell you that much, because that shit was fucking hilarious. It's a great fucking show. If you guys haven't watched that, I'm telling you, man, that's one of the best things that John Cena's done, man. Him as Peacemaker was fucking hilarious. So
I don't know what they plan on doing with John Cena. I think it's a little too late for him to win another championship.
I don't
break the record. Yeah,
I tell you now, I don't want. The reason I don't want Charlotte to be the one to do it is because Charlotte has been gifted titles too much for me.
If Charlotte's
And
not in the title picture, she's not doing anything.
she's not relevant. But you can tell that she was basically handed these fucking titles, and it's not. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel the same. If you go back and look at every single title that John Cena's won, it's had something compelling tied to it. Hell, him and Edge has been one of the greatest rivalries he's ever had, and it was mostly Edge beating Cena for the title. Not to mention the Miz beat Cena at Mania for a title. Like, there's been a lot more build for Cena's 16-time, championship reign. So it's more, to me, it felt more organic. Like, we understand the whole wrestling scripted thing, but it doesn't still.
Yeah, but Cena put the work in.
He was never forced on us as a champion. Not like that. He just wasn't. He got most of his through, phenomenal storytelling, controversy, whatever you want to call it. But he always put on great title matches. He's always put on great matches. I can't tell you I've seen a bad John Cena match, like title match. That's for damn sure.
Especially not at pay-per-view.
No, and then at WrestleMania, him and The Rock twice. That shit was great.
Amazing.
Even John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, phenomenal. Like, we've seen this. Like, we've seen this on multiple occasions. And I was gonna ask you this. Me and DJ Prime been talking about this since we're still on this WWE stuff, and I'm enjoying this far too much. So
yeah, I noticed.
so because we haven't done this in a long time. So we were talking. Me and him talk about wrestling shit all the time, and with the whole passing of of Bray Wyatt, me and him were talking, and one of the first things that came out, I was like, man, WWE fucking fumbled the bag, man, because Bray Wyatt should have been our generation's Undertaker, hands down. He should have been. And
they did everything to promote it as that.
They did, but I think they also watered his character down too much.
They did.
Because my thought process is this, and this is what I said. Me and him were talking about this, and he was like, that makes way too much sense. The original Bray Wyatt character should have always been the main character. The Fiend should have been like his WrestleMania personality, like a specialty thing, a special attraction.
Like Finn and the Demon.
Yeah, because just he could have been the one to create the new streak. Right now, Bianca Belair is on the streak game, but she got a while to go. But imagine if you would have had the Fiend creating this streak and just putting on these compelling ass matches and just straight smashing people. It could have worked. So then we got to talking, and we're like, who's next? And he brings up a guy like Braun Strowman, and I was like, I like the idea, of course, going with the Giant, but I don't like Braun on the mic.
Hell no.
Say what you want about the Undertaker. Undertaker was phenomenal on the microphone, though.
Undertaker was very good on the mic.
And he was a polarizing character, and he was just a presence. So it's like, all right. So I said, let me put somebody in your thought process that you may not have thought about. And I said, what about Karrion Kross? And this is why. There was
to be the new streak holder.
So here's why. There was pushback initially when I said it. But see, you have to go back to the original Karrion Kross. You have to go back to NXT Karrion Kross. The NXT Karrion Kross was unbeatable. Like, it didn't matter who it was. Karrion Kross was breaking dudes off on NXT. The personality was great. He had this Kratos thing going on. He had the bald head. He wore the kilt style thing like Kratos. Like, everything about it was built perfectly. And he literally, if you go back and watch NXT when Kross was when he was the champ, it took Finn Balor coming back to down to NXT to beat him.
It did.
Kross was dominating. And if they could have brought that same persona over to the main roster, you could have built it that way. Because Karrion Kross is not too big, not too small. He's perfect size in the middle. He wasn't bad on the mic. The whole clock thing, the whole TikTok thing, all of it was brilliant. But then they turned him into this Vince brings him on and puts him in this fucking BDSM mask like he about to get chained up and whipped and shit and pegged or some shit.
That's exactly why Vince doesn't need to be writing.
Yeah, gets beat by Jeff Hardy in a bullshit ass match, and now his character lost all the momentum that it had. Vince killed the character. And I like that Karrion Kross has not been on TV for a while because you can now build this back up to bring that allure back and because we need a character like Undertaker. Also, now what I will say is a guy like Braun would be phenomenal in a role like Kane's role. Doesn't need
yeah.
to say much, just beat your ass. Like,
But you know what though? Kane was actually phenomenal on the mic when they let him do it.
he was,
I know
but
we all remember that backstage promo with The Rock and Hulk Hogan. The
yes, but that
Canaanites,
was
man.
later in Kane's career. When Kane initially came out, Kane had Paul Bearer, and Paul
Yeah.
Bearer was the mouthpiece.
Speaking of managers, as we were going through earlier,
He was just a monster who wore a mask, who you didn't want to fight. Point blank. So, there was that.
I still feel bad for Braun Strowman because he got his championship run during COVID.
Well, he did, and so did Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre hasn't gotten a true title run with the crowd.
Yeah,
and everything
stupid,
else.
man.
So McIntyre literally held WWE down during the pandemic, during the, what do they call it? They didn't call it the bubble, the dome or some shit.
Some shit, but I just remember it was at the Performance Center. I don't, yeah.
But all in all, I do like where WWE is going. I'm curious to see what's going to happen now. I'll be tuned in on Friday after we're done with the football show. Speaking of that, make sure y'all tune in to Inside the Huddle on Friday because we got some heat for your ass. OG Mel is going to be chilling at the music festival working that event, so it's going to be me and, of course, the big homie Moolage. We're going to be holding down as a duo.
Shit, if I get off work on time, I'm going to hop in that motherfucker.
We got some fire for you. We've been planning this doc out all week. There's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe, a lot of NFL news, a lot of some college news that some people don't know about that happened as well. So looking forward to that. Make sure y'all tune into that.
Hey.
That's coming down at 4:30 Central Standard Time. I'll say that because of us Texas folk. That's 2:30 over there in the California time because that's where Moolage is coming from. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. Make sure tomorrow y'all check out Player versus Team. Zamora and company over there doing the damn thing, killing it with the unbiased opinions and whatnot. So make sure y'all tune in for that. Basket to Basket on Monday was absolutely fire. I was in the chat. I was mad because there was a lot of bullshit being said. And I said what I said.
I promise y'all I was not part of the bullshit that was being said.
I'm gonna address it without saying too much. Ain't a single argument out there that's finna tell me that Kawhi Leonard is better than Dwayne Wade. I said what the fuck I said. D-Wade is my GOAT. Everybody else got your Kobe's and your Jordans and your LeBrons. Listen, D-Wade is my GOAT, and I'm telling you right now, Kawhi is not better than D-Wade. Kawhi ain't played enough fucking games to be in the same conversation with D-Wade.
I absolutely believe that this shit is facts. And the fact that I was the only person on air felt like that was willing to defend Dwayne Wade. It's like, bruh, Dwayne Wade is the third best shooting guard of all time. Kawhi Leonard is not even probably a top 5 small forward all time. Like y'all have to stop, man.
Not a single playoff run that Kawhi Leonard has had will ever match anything that Wade did in 06. Not even his Toronto run matches.
No,
what
not even his
D-Wade
Toronto run. No.
It just doesn't.
In order for that shit to match what D-Wade did in 06, he literally is going to have to win a championship in LA for the Clippers, bro.
And you know what? And it still may not match because of what D-Wade did.
Yeah.
But, I mean, on top of that, just career-wise, like Kawhi is known mostly majority for his defense and being like a quiet scorer. He definitely learned a lot from Tim Duncan. He's a quiet scorer. The dude would just out of nowhere be like, damn, when did Kawhi drop 34? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's very quiet how it happens. But sometimes his 34 points don't equate to dubs. Whereas if D-Wade is dropping 34, 40, 45, 50, it's probably because it's in a comeback effort or it's because he's just feeling himself and you can't stop him. Or it's a playoff game against the Bulls and he's hitting a game-winning 3 from like half court. Still one of his.
That 2009, 2010 Dwayne Wade.
Still one of my
the one that got robbed of MVP, and I would say that till back then. Everybody still to this like, well, they weren't top 3 in the East. Well, guess what? Westbrook won MVP when he was the 6th seed. I don't want to hear that bullshit no more. Y'all didn't have a problem with Westbrook winning MVP as a 6th seed.
Yep.
But
speaking of NBA, let's get to the fun part of this show. Soundstripe. DJ Micah B, take us on a journey.
Let's go on a journey. I don't know if y'all listen to the podcast that Gilbert Arenas has. refers to himself as No Chill Gil. Y'all know, same Gilbert Arenas that brought the guns to the locker room for Javaris Crittenton, and same Gilbert Arenas that was an all-star in the late 2000s, and same Gilbert Arenas that got cut from Team USA, and y'all know the legend saying I got 60 for you, I got 60 for you, I got 50 for you, all that. This podcast is known to say some of the most ridiculous shit, whether it comes from Gilbert Arenas, Rashard McCants. Patrick Beverly went over there and schooled Rashard McCants the other day, pretty much telling Rashard McCants that he wasn't as good as him. You got a former basketball player, female basketball player, Miko. And then you got Mr. Walking Bucket himself, and the pun intended, Mr. Walking Bucket himself, Brandon Jennings. You know, so there's a lot of stuff that has been said on this podcast, but today is where I draw the line, bruh. And Mr. Gilbert Arenas, welcome to your time on Gentleman's Talk, Dumbass Millionaire. The fact that you disrespected a legend. The fact that you disrespected a legend. Gilbert Arenas basically said nobody wants the Hakeem Olajuwon skyhook. First of all, wrong player. Come on now. Nobody wants that shit. You should be ashamed of yourself charging these young whippersnappers $50,000 for a workout with him. When you came in the league in 1984, you wasn't even making $50,000 a game. You're trying to make your money back through the youth. Okay. So let's stop here because we're gonna move on to where Gilbert Arenas said Hakeem Olajuwon ain't been good since the 90s. Now, there was a question posed: who got you to love basketball? And mine was Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. I'm born and raised in Houston. I'm from Houston. I was alive when Rockets won back-to-back championships. I lived through that. You know, let's be serious here. He's saying who needs to train with Hakeem Olajuwon, and I don't think Gilbert Arenas understands that footwork is footwork, regardless. Kobe trained with Hakeem. LeBron trained with Hakeem. Dwight Howard trained with Hakeem. He's basically saying Hakeem Olajuwon methods is out of date and his skills are out of date. So, real quick, GQ, if you could answer this for me. Name the only player in NBA history who has top 10 in blocks and top 10 in steals.
I believe it's somebody named Hakeem.
Hakeem. What does the game lack these days?
Steals and rebounding.
So let's break down into Hakeem's skills alone. If you're a 7-foot center, 6'11", 6'10", whatever you want to call Hakeem,
a big ass center. It started off as power forward on him because he was playing next to Ralph Sampson, of course. Another great big for the Rockets. So if you're a 7-foot center and you have top 10 in steals, how do you think you got those steals? You know how to position yourself right. You know how to move your feet. You have to be agile. You have to have skill to steal the ball from guards as a center. Not to mention, you have to know how to play the passing lane.
Exactly.
Which is a skill.
Let's move on to what Hakeem is number one in overall in NBA history in blocks. Blocking takes skill.
Because blocking is not just because you're big thing. There is a legitimate timing aspect of blocking. You can't just jump when they jump and think you're going to block the shot. You've got to look at the release point. You've got to look at when that ball leaves their hand to not foul. First of all, let's play that game to not foul. 2, to make contact with the ball to push it away from the basket or into the stands, or like Andre Iguodala is doing to snatch that bitch out the air. However you want to do it. But it's a timing thing. So you have to, your eye-hand coordination has got to be on 100.
Yep.
Because you got to think about it 9 times out of 10 when you're blocking a shot, you're moving backwards. And now you've got to plant that foot. You've got to time your jump with that person's jump. And you're also timing what their arm is doing, whether they're releasing a floater, a jump shot, going in for a dunk. Like, you have to do all these things, and it takes a skill. Point blank, period. It's a skill. You know, just because you're tall don't mean you block good shots. Otherwise, a guy like Gobert or AD would always be number one in blocks. a guy like Joel Embiid. Like, you think D Wade averaging a block for his career was by coincidence?
Hell no.
It takes timing. It's a skill. That's
It
why
is 100% a skill. Everybody can do it. So now we've addressed the defensive side of the ball. Let's address the offensive side where Gilbert. Nobody wants to do the Hakeem skyhook. First of all, that was Kareem and not Hakeem. So yes, Hakeem could do the skyhook, but come on, bro.
Hakeem didn't have to, because Hakeem had that sweet ass footwork.
That's exactly where I'm getting to. So let's get to the footwork aspect of this thing. How many players can you name off the top of your head that could do right now in the NBA a drop step, half spin, turnaround jumper?
You want me to be realistic?
Yeah, be realistic.
Maybe 3.
My point exactly. Hakeem was doing that at 7 foot.
Yeah, like, do you know where you see that particular shot combination more than anything else? In the WNBA.
Yep.
That is, and I'm not saying it's like a common thing, but it's more common because in the WNBA they have to utilize more actual, and I don't know how to word this properly. Their skill set is their fundamental skill set. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
They have to use a lot more fundamental skills, whereas in the NBA, you're allowed to, you can get away with more athleticism on top of skill, sometimes not as much skill, but a lot more athleticism, which is why guys like Russell Westbrook, guys like Ja Morant won't last very long, because they're hyper athletic, but their skill set doesn't translate when they get older, which is why a guy like Kobe, when he got older, his skill set translated, because that turnaround J, guess where he got it from? Hakeem. He hit him with the shoulder shimmy and the fadeaway. Yep. Who else does that? LeBron. D Wade did it. Giannis does it sometimes. Luka tries to do it. Freaking Kyrie does it. Like, you have to, your skill set has to have adaptability. So yeah, I'm super fast, but what else are you? Can you shoot? Can you pass? Can you do anything else? You have to get, LeBron adapted his game.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's why LeBron can play anywhere on the fucking floor.
Speaking of LeBron, let's get to LeBron and Dwight. You know what happened the summer Dwight trained with Hakeem Olajuwon and learned footwork and developed a spin in the post and can shoot and could do that little running hook that he did. Mm-hmm. He took his team to the final. I mean, he lost to Kobe, but he took his team to the finals. LeBron trained with Hakeem. He learned the footwork. That's when LeBron started developing the post game. Like, this is, and more importantly, name me 10 players in the NBA right now that can do the dream shake consistently. You can't name 10 players.
Not 10.
I mean, it's
realistically
the notion.
Not 10. Not 10. I would argue 4.
Yeah.
And that's being nice, because the dream shake is a unique thing, and there ain't too many.
Rondo used to abuse it.
Oh, he used to abuse people with it.
Yeah,
because he's really good at it. KD was really good at it. I think Giannis got better at it. Giannis was a little shaky at first. Hold the phone. We got another one. Salute to you. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
I like that. Akeem Benny Nets for life. I like the YouTube handle too. That's fire. But it's the truth though. Like, the thing with this is what bothers me. And I know this is not a basketball show, but this is a talk show, so we're gonna talk our shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing with the modern NBA as opposed to the 2000s. I'm not even gonna go back to the old, just the 2000s. The skill set that's being utilized is not one that can translate. This, let me shoot a bunch of threes and do this, that, and the third, be hyper athletic. Players don't hold up as long because
they don't.
This is why a guy like Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is different. Anthony Edwards has a unique skill set that can translate as he gets older. So I'm a big fan. Whereas a guy like Cat won't. He's a big man trying to be a guard. Ask AD how that's going.
Bro, it gets him. If you don't get your 7-foot ass down in that post, bro.
Yeah, like, listen, even Dirk knew when to get his ass in the post and do what he did. And Dirk is still one of the most dangerous 7-footers we've ever had in basketball.
Ever.
Like, I'm just saying, prime Dirk versus prime KD would have been a beautiful matchup. They would have went shot for shot.
We were right outside of Kevin Durant's prime whenever Dirk and KD went at it in the conference finals.
And I'll tell you one other prime matchup that would be beautiful would be Prime Dirk versus Prime Bird.
I would love it.
Prime
I would
Dirk,
love it.
defensively, I think Bird would give Dirk some, like, he would get on his nerves because Bird has phenomenal hands. But shot for shot, God, dog, that would be beautiful. Watching them two, because they were both phenomenal inside the 3-point line shooters. Like, Dirk had a very soft stroke for being so tall.
Dirk is that guy, man.
Dirk is one of one. Dirk is one of, like, I know they say like KD is like the closest thing. Well, yeah, but different skill sets. Like, I still would take a guy like, if you I'm maybe on an island with very few people, but I would take a prime Dirk over a prime KD personally, because I don't and it's not a knock on KD. It's just I'm thinking about what I can surround the rest of the team with.
I don't think that's a bad.
My issue is that KD doesn't do enough in the paint for me. The way I do it. You know how I am with my team structure. A guy like Dirk, I can move him around. I can do a lot. But I can surround him with guys like a D Wade, with guys like, with even a guy like a Dame Lillard. If I can put like a Dame Lillard and a Dirk together, good luck stopping me, because that pick and roll is gonna be stupid.
The pick and roll with LaMarcus Aldridge was already stupid. Imagine it with Dirk.
This is where my coaching brain goes. This is the type of shit I be thinking about. Like, yeah, cool. I'm not saying that KD is not a better player than Dirk. I'm just saying, personally, me, prime for prime, I would love to see a prime Dirk in this current era of basketball. Because I think it'd be dumb. Because even like watching like him and Giannis going toe to toe, oh man, that shit would be beautiful.
Gilbert Arenas, welcome to the Dumbass Millionaires Wall of Shame.
100%.
I listen to your podcast every now and then, but when I hear the most ridiculous shit like this, I turn that shit straight off.
Yeah, and I can't get down with that. Like, you mad at this man for quote unquote charging, $50,000 and this, that, and the third. I'm like, listen, these celebrities that are in movies, do you know how much they pay these fucking trainers to get them right? Just go look it up. Go look up how much fucking Hemsworth paid his trainer to look like Thor. It wasn't cheap. When you have a unique skill set and an ability to teach this skill set to others to make them better, guess what that means you can do? Charge your worth. We live in 2023 where marketability is a key to life. Because there are a million coaches out there. There are a million personal trainers out there. There are a million coaches out there. There are a million specialists out there. What makes you different from the rest?
Facts.
There's a million different DJs out there. But guess what? You know what makes DJ Michael be different from the rest of them? His personality. The way he gets down.
I'll jump from behind the table and go line dance.
Like, what do you do that makes yourself markedly better than the average person that's doing the same thing? Especially when you're in a diluted field like sports training. Sports training is a very diluted field, and COVID made it that much bigger. Everybody's a sports trainer now. But if I'm a young athlete just fresh into the NBA and I'm a big man, why would I not want to learn from Hakeem?
It's a ridiculous ass notion that you don't want to learn from Hakeem.
That's like if I was a defensive back, why would I not want to learn from Deion Sanders? Or if I was a receiver, why would I not want to learn from a guy like Michael Irving or Chad Ochocinco or Randy Moss?
And
why would I not want to learn?
And lost in the shuffle is these guys make substantially more money than they did when Hakeem was a freaking player. Yeah. They make, the NBA is turning to $500 million.
And we've talked about this. The money that athletes make now is not the same as it was in the 90s. It's not.
Hell no.
They were getting paid pennies on the fucking dollar.
Y'all understand when Michael Jordan made $33 million his last year in Chicago? Every single owner had to sign off on him making $33 million.
Now, everybody can make that and more.
Well, fuck Gilbert Arenas. That's how I feel. I'm not even going to just don't you ever disrespect Hakeem Olajuwon ever again in your life.
Don't disrespect the greats.
You're lucky he went to Jerusalem, became Muslim, and took the peacemaker role after, because Hakeem used to fuck people up back in the day. Those of you that don't know.
Well, let me drop this on us, because we got one more segment to close out the show, and I want to make sure that people understand what we got going on. So it's time to have a real conversation. This has come up a lot in the news recently, and I've watched this a lot. And it's about divorce. Now, it's not just any type of divorce. It's divorce that involves a prenup being signed. I want to have a real talk about a prenup. That's what the fuck I want to talk about. Because I'll be in these forums and I'll be looking at all these people talking, and there'd be a lot of women out there. Yeah, I'm taking the gloves off of this conversation. That's why it's called the real talk. There'll be a lot of women out there that'll be mad as fuck. Oh, I wouldn't have signed that prenup, this, that, and the third, all this shit like that. And I'm like, okay. First and foremost, those same women out there who say that, you're going into a relationship with an ulterior motive right off the bat, and that's a red flag in my book. Because if you are, let me word this accordingly. If you come into a relationship down bad and you get with somebody that's well off, what makes you think you're entitled to anything that they acquired and worked hard for prior to y'all getting together? Make that make sense, first of all. Now, if you want to tell me that when y'all got together, you became a part of the business and y'all generated, let's say, 25% more net worth than what he had or she had prior to, because I'm gonna make sure I speak on both sides of this. If you generated 25% more net worth because of whatever it is you contributed, I have no problem with you taking that 25% because you were a part of that. But if you were not a part of building the empire prior to, but you came into the empire, like, make some of that shit make sense. And I bring that up because we were one of the most recent splits that have been going on has been Jeezy and his wife. That's been all over social media. First of all, it came out of nowhere, but apparently they've been separated for a while. But Jeezy finally submitted the divorce papers in, I want to say it was August. So they also have a beautiful baby girl, and they signed a prenup, and they signed, in my opinion, was one of the most unique prenups I've ever heard, and I think it's actually beautiful. And it is basically saying that the wealth that they individually came into with is theirs. They're entitled to that. It's theirs. It can't be touched by no courts, any of that. How you were able to get that prenup drawn up and written like that is phenomenal. So you both protect your asses because his wife is she's a talk show host, like a media person.
Yep.
She makes good money, like she does. I'm not saying she's broke or anything like that. But when they came into the relationship, they signed a prenup. They said, we will maintain the what we came into with. But now that means, okay, what did we do when we came together? What did we build? Back on the conversation we just had. Yes, you had a child. I got that. But this is what I loved about it. And I wish I'd have pulled it up. But inside this, what it said was that what Jeezy said is, I want to leave it up to the courts. But when it comes to the care, the medical, the expenses, all these things for our daughter, he said it needs to be split down the middle. And the reason that caught my attention more than anything else is because why is it not always that way? Because we, and in this society that we live in, have allowed one side versus the other to weaponize the child in the situation. No matter if you're a celebrity couple, a regular ass couple, a middle class couple, a poor couple, whatever the case might be, we have allowed, the courts have allowed, and we as a society who don't vote and talk to people have allowed the children to be the main weapon in a court finding proceeding. I don't like that. I fucking hate it. And this is why I hate it. Because you can't put all the onus on one party in a relationship like that. You both had a part in the child being born. So if the child is with the mother and you know, okay, the first thing you need to do, if you want to say, all right, cool, for the first year, you've got to pay a certain percentage while the mother gets her life back together. I'm not even going to be mad at that. I'm really not. But before you get to that point, let me tell you what the first thing you need to do is you need to 100% pull all the bank statements, all the taxes, all the income taxes, everything, pull everything. You need to do a full-on evaluation of the financial side of this because you need to see where the money's been going, how much money is coming from him and her and what's gone towards the kid. Like, you need to see all this stuff, because you can't make a decision because the father in this situation or the mother makes more than the other parent, so they shouldn't be entitled to pay more. That's bullshit, first of all, because you're not paying child support to support the mother or the father's lifestyle. You're paying child support to support the child. So when I see some of these, and I'm gonna start with this. When I see some of these celebrity cases, and it's like, oh, pay, $6.5 million a month for child support. I'm like, what fucking kid needs $6.5 million to live? None. It don't cost $6 million a year to raise no goddamn child.
Facts.
It don't. Rich kid, poor kid, middle class kid, none of that shit. It don't. The problem is when a mother and or father has been accustomed to a particular lifestyle and now they don't know how to adapt. That's not the fault of the other party involved in this situation, whether it's the mother or the father that has custody of the child. It's not the fault of that other person to support your lifestyle. It is your job now to support your new lifestyle with your child and make the best life for your child. Because if that was the case, then every single normal middle class, low class family that went through a divorce, one side would get fucked every time. Like, there's no way in hell. Let's take the most classic case that happens in Texas all the time. A married couple splits up, the mother gets custody of the kid, and the father is having to pay an absurd amount of child support on top of having to support himself, make a living, and survive off of,
and sometimes spousal support too.
Yeah, so you're going to take, let's say 45% of this man's check, and you expect him to survive off of 55% of his check, when the normal average single American doesn't survive off of a whole ass check because they live paycheck to paycheck. The average American, even the average two income household, lives paycheck to paycheck. No, I don't get down with that. What needs to happen is, if the individual in this case, like, we'll keep it as, let's say the father works a job, like, let's just say he's a lawyer. Let's just start with that. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say he's a lawyer. All right, he works for a firm and he has the child under the insurance of the firm that he works at. Okay, that's one less expense that needs to be deducted from child support because he's supporting that child's medical expenses. Which means now when it comes to stuff like, all right, if you're buying these other things for the child, where's the mother coming from with this? What is she doing to support the child? Because what happens a lot of the time that we see is that the mother in this case will use that money to support her lifestyle and buy some stuff for the kid, but they'll go and they won't get a job, or they'll work a small time job and not make a lot of money and try to rely on an absurd amount of child support. And I think that's the wrong way to go about it. And I'm not saying this is every case, because I've seen different cases. I've seen better situations. But back on the original topic at hand, which is the prenup. I don't have a problem with the prenup. I've never had a problem with the prenup. I believe in protecting your assets. And this is why. You know who protects their assets all the time? The fucking rich.
Yep.
So if I am somebody who came from nothing and I made it big, why would I not want to protect my assets? Like, why? I'm not now don't, because I know there are some what do we call them? There are some social media gangsters out there that's gonna take what I say and be like, oh, so if GQ ever make it big, he gonna make his current wife sign a prenup. That's not what the fuck I said. That's not what I said. But I said I protect my assets. I'm gonna take care of my family because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm a father. It's my job. It's my role. I'm going to take care of my family. But I'm also not gonna tie all my assets up into something that can make me go broke. I'm also not going to tie up my assets in a position to where I have a potential to lose everything. I'm going to protect my assets because at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen in this life, and you've got to be able to support yourself and whatever you've created in this life. So I'm going to protect my assets. That's just life. I don't see anything wrong with that. But like I said, no, if when the day that From the Sidelines blows up and we all become big, mega famous, personalities on TV and all this whatnot, tell you right now, the first thing I'm doing when I get all my bread, besides paying off all my debt, which I hope all of us do, is I'm
Fucking
doing
right.
exactly what me and my brother been talking about. I'm going to buy a motherfucking ranch. I need some
Yep.
residual income. I'm going to buy 100 acres and I'm finna start my family compound. Like I'm finna be on some Yellowstone type shit. Like fuck you mean? I'm finna get my acres, finna get my goats, finna get my animals, finna get my fucking cane corsos and shit to patrol, get my Dobermans. I'm finna act a fool. Getting out the
Livestock
city.
and land equals wealth. Residual
Yeah.
wealth is that. So
What else it equals? Discounts on taxes. And I already get discounts on taxes being a veteran. I'm just trying to add more to it. But what are your thoughts on that?
well, there's a lot to unpack here, but I'm gonna do it in a kind of a short way as I can possible. So let's see. Supporting somebody's lifestyle because they can't revert to a regular lifestyle after a divorce is absolutely ridiculous. I've never believed in the whole spousal support thing. You're a grown ass human being. You shouldn't rely on another grown ass human being to make sure you can live how you want to live. Something that a guy told me a couple of years ago when I was working in my last warehouse. He said, "No human being that has a full time job should not have what they want."
I'm with that.
Plain and simple. If you want to go out, get your ass out there and work for it.
Yeah.
Second,
So I want to touch on something you said at the very beginning about the spousal support. There's one instance that I agree with spousal support, and it's only in the instance of you're in a situation where you're the stay-at-home parent, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad, and you didn't work. So now you've kind of got to get your life back on track. I have no problem with spousal support in those instances because when you become a stay-at-home parent, normally it's a choice. And that means you're now saying, I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to take care of the children, whether you're the stay-at-home husband or the stay-at-home wife. That is one of the few instances where I completely am not against spousal support, but there's a time limit on it.
there
And I
has to
think that
be.
time limit has to be a year or 18 months. But at the same time, if that same stay-at-home parent was able to get their college paid for by that other spouse and they have a degree and they have the ability to apply and go get jobs, I'm going to cut that year down to 6 months.
Facts.
But anyway,
I completely concur.
I just had to put that out there.
I completely concur with that. And I'm going to agree with, bro. It doesn't take $6.5 million for a baby to be, bro. I mean, just I get by law, hey, it's supposed to be this much percentage in child support, but there has to be some. I've been saying for years now, there got to be some kind of cap on child support. There absolutely has to be some kind of cap. It's ridiculous that a baby that's 7 months when the parents split because you're famous and you make, let's say, you're worth 100 million. You say you're worth 100, and you have to pay $570,000 a month in child support for what?
Yeah.
Formula don't cost.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you what I would do in that instance because you said what they were. What you said, 25 million?
Let's say if they were worth 100 million.
Okay, let's play that game. If I'm worth 100 mil, and I have access to 70% of that 100 mil, like I could go to the bank and I could withdraw up to 70% of that $100 million. Like I have access to that. This is what I would do. I would agree to a one-time payment.
Hell yes.
I would agree to it. And this is and ladies and gentlemen, don't think I'm saying this as a hated person, as an evil person, but this is why I'm saying that. If I can go and get, let's just say for the sake of this argument and discussion, let's just say I give you a one-time payment of $10 million for you and the child. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to do my normal responsibilities. I'm going to still take care of medical expenses, the normal stuff. But I'm going to pay you a one-time quote-unquote support of $10 million. With that comes that you can never put me on child support. I will do my part to take care of the medical stuff, but I'm giving you a chance to get your shit together. If you fuck around and find out, like it says, and blow that $10 million in a short time frame, then you need to be reevaluated in the court, and now you need to be penalized.
I fucks with that heavily.
Just saying.
I mean, it's a lot to unpack. Some people will be like, man, they hating this and that, but I'm gonna just make this. You know, I'm a funny person. I mean, it's serious, but I'm a funny person.
Yeah.
In the terms of a brother that is from Miami, that was also a rapper, hip hop artist, one of the best of our generation in the 2010s. Started off in the mid 2000s. There is a quote that comes to mind when it comes to prenups. Bitch, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Let's be specifically clear here because I do like what Jeezy and Jenny Mai did. So let's break it down like this. If we get married, our individual incomes becomes our wealth per
Yeah,
se.
everything becomes our and we.
So if I put my money together with yours and it goes to let's say from 100,000 a year to 148 a year. And you bring in
Okay.
48,000, I bring in 100,000. So that 148. Whatever the percentage is on that, when we split, my percentage of that 100,000 of that from that 48,000, whatever the percentage breaks down to, that's what you walk away with. Whatever we have, you walk away with that percent. So if I am contributing 85% and you're contributing 15%, when we break apart, I take 85% and you take 15%. There's no 50-50 here. There's
No.
absolutely no 50-50 here. You didn't bring in 100,000 like I brought in 100,000. You did not. If you brought in 100,000 like I brought in 100,000, fine. And then if you bring in the 48,000 and then you say, hey, you want to stop working? Okay, fine. Just remember you brought in that 48. You brought in the 48,000 and you made the choice to stop working. So I would agree with the judge. Hey, you get 48,000 in spousal support, and I'm going to pay it over time. Just plain and simple. What you bring is what you get back. So if you bring 15% of our total income, you probably should walk away with just 15% of our total income when we split.
Yep. And
That would tone down a lot of the bullshit.
If you were going to get paid 48,000 in spousal support over 12 months, that's $4,000 a month. If you telling me you can't live off of $4,000 a month, I can't help you. Because realistically, you can. Especially if it's a situation where there's no kids involved.
Yep.
Now, if there's kids involved, can you still? Yeah, but you got to budget. You got to be a little smarter. You got to operate just a little bit differently. But I've always, and that's just that, and we think the same on this, because I don't, and this is what, and I say this because we see a lot of it nowadays, especially where individuals will go out there searching for somebody to make an absurd amount of money. Then they get together, they have a kid, and all of a sudden they divorce them and they try to take a bunch of their income. I don't think that should be how that works.
No.
I really don't. Because I think that's a load of crap. It's a trap game, and that's not cool. Because somebody that made millions, that obtained and got to millions, they worked their ass off for that. And all of a sudden, I'm going to let somebody with a fucking gavel make a decision based on the money I made prior to me and you getting together? And then you contributed what?
Bitch,
Okay.
you wasn't with me shooting in the gym.
Like, and that to me should be a part of it. And I'm not saying that, again, I'm not saying it to be mean, but when you have these vindictive individuals that are out there trying to take somebody for half when they didn't contribute to half, I'm not with that. I would rather, if I came into a relationship and I was, let's just say for the sake of this argument, I was a billionaire. Let's just say I was a billionaire. I would be like, if my net worth was like 1.2 bill and we go through the split and you tell me you're trying to take half, I'll be like, nah. But I'll tell you what I will do. I'll settle on paying you, 70, 80 mil and keep it pushing.
Fucking right.
I'll take that short-term hit because of my long-term gains I'm probably gonna make. But I'll pay you, you know what? I'll pay you a one-time fee. Anywhere from 40 to 70 mil. And why am I doing that? Because if we also have a kid involved and you can't survive off of that much money, you have a different problem. And it's money spending. Point blank. It should be a lot more. It should be a lot more of a negotiation than it is. There's too much power given to one side in these types of instances, and I don't think that's how it should be.
I mean, if you break down marriage and look at marriage as a business concept,
I mean,
Most
is
of the
that not
time,
kind of what it is?
yeah, but they don't look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like when they go to court, the courts don't look at it as a business concept. That's why I said when you look at it and you look at it as a business concept, if I start a company and I invest, let's say it costs $200,000 to franchise a McDonald's.
Yeah.
I put up 100,000. One person puts up 50,000. Another person puts up 50,000. So I contributed 50%. You contribute 25, and another person contributes 25. And then, hey, here's what's going on. This business partnership is done. We're going to sell our McDonald's for, let's say McDonald's blows up to 2 million. Y'all gross 2 million as a company.
Okay.
Well, guess what? When we sell it, my stake in this shit is still 50% overall. So I'm taking 100 million, and by the business model, the other two are going to split the 50 million that we gross, because we gross 2 million or 50,000 or whatever it is. So you're taking 25, and I'm taking 50 because that's how we bought into this. That's how business works. A marriage should work the same way. And now, yes, if there's a kid involved, fine. Hey, here's your cut. Here's your cut. I have my cut. Now, if the judge's like, hey, you got to pay this much in child support a month. Okay, fine. I'll pay my child support. But you're not going to sit here and tell me because I made 100 million in this business, I have to pay 3 million a month when we just broke apart and this person walked away with 50 million, or you walked away with this much. You're not going to do that.
No.
And I feel like that's exactly why Jeezy should, and he is applying for joint custody.
Yeah, and because his net worth is damn near triple hers.
And most definitely.
So, that's just kind of what it is. And I wouldn't be mad if the situation was flipped. And he was with, let's just say he was with some actress that made that, triple his net worth. I wouldn't be mad at either situation because, again, protect your assets. There's a kid involved, and you know what? It should be joint 50-50 because nowadays Jeezy's not even on tour no more. He's home a lot more. So why not? Why not? If I've got the means to be here and know that I'll still, because I want to spend time with my daughter and do all this stuff, I'm gonna do it. Point blank. And now I'm glad that he's doing it that way. So, I hope the best for both of them. I hope it all pans out. I hope it's not very messy. I hope it don't, greed is a hell of a thing.
Oh, man.
And it has a tendency of taking over. So but
I try to tell people, when people say, hey, the root of all evil is money, that is wrong. Greed and the love of money is the root of all evil.
I would add jealousy in there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Jealousy, too.
Jealousy is evil.
And hell yeah.
Hell, Drake said it best. Jealousy in the air tonight, I can tell.
Speaking of that, Drake has announced he's going to move to Houston permanently, for those of you that are interested in that.
Cool. I mean, I might see him. We go to brunch one time.
Exactly.
I'm with it. Oh, man. Fantastic, man. Feels good to be back on this kind of like a regular talk show, man.
It does. Yes, I did have a crossover ready, but I think we could save that for next week because I don't know if we'll do the round of 32 yet.
No, we're not ready. We're gonna take a break. Yeah, we're gonna keep it regular for a little bit. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. There will be some more. We got some interviews coming up. I've been working with some individuals. A big time local business actually out here in the Houston area that has done something major. Bringing him in along with a couple other individuals. We're going to shine some light on the world of flag football coming soon. So DJ Prime will also be involved in that because it's one of his closest people. So y'all be checking up on that. But before we go, because we didn't get to do it on, we haven't done it on the football show. So I'm going to do it on this show because I have the ability and the access to do it. And it's fun to me. So I have the ability to look at things like power rankings and stuff.
Okay.
In the Dynasty League. And that to me is fucking dope. So
that is pretty dope.
I want to go ahead and go off these power rankings real quick so that everybody understands where we are. So this is beautiful. So some of y'all can see my screen, some of y'all can't. So I'm using specifically the My Playbook app from the Fantasy Pros. Great app. So I'm trying to get that plug. So based on current production, right? So I'm currently sitting in 4th in this league. My playoff odds are currently 81%. So this shit's very detailed. Power rankings,
Interesting.
I have moved up to 4th. When this league started, before we played any games, I was sitting at 10th. Coming into this prior week, I was sitting at 7th. All of a sudden, I'm sitting at 4th in the power rankings. Not bad. So let's talk about the power rankings of the entire league, because that's where shit really matters. Why am I getting an ad right now? That's weird. I don't like that.
This is our dynasty league, right?
Yes, this is our
Okay.
from the sidelines. So this is your current power rankings going into week. Where we at? Week 3 now.
Yeah.
At number 10, you've got DJ Prime. At number
Wow.
11, you've got Moon. At number 10, you've got Sports Talk. At number 9, you've got myself. At number 8, you've got that's Mel. That's Mel. Number 7, you got Eskimo Brothers. That's your boy Bush. Number 6, you got
he's going hard.
Number 5, you got yourself. Number 4, you've got, I think that's Willie. Yeah, Willie is Seattle Green Waves. At 3, you've got ISO Ty. At 2, you've got Troy. And at number 1, you have got Wayne. Those are our current power rankings going into this upcoming week.
Not bad.
Not bad. I wanted to highlight some stuff. I want to look at, so just so you understand. So
I'm smack dab in the middle.
So by position rankings wise, you have the number 1 wide receiver 2, the number 3 tight end. You have the number 10 quarterback, the number 8 RB1, number 7 RB2, number 5 wide receiver 1, number 5 wide receiver 3, number 8 flex. This is off your current roster that you haven't touched for this week yet. Your second flex spot is currently ranked number 11th. Your kicker is number 12, and your defense is number 6. So, not bad. Not bad. My QB, I'm sitting at number 5. My RB1 is at 6. RB2 is at 5. My wide receiver 1 is at number 12. That's funny. My wide receiver 2 is at 11.
Who's your wide receiver 1?
I don't know. I'll tell you in just a second. I don't remember. We in too many damn leagues. I can't keep up.
We are.
My wide receiver 3 is number 8, which is fucking weird. My tight end is number 4. My first flex is number 6. My second flex is number 2. My kicker and my defense are both number 7. To answer your other question now. So my wide receiver 1 is Garrett Wilson. My wide receiver 2 is Drake London. And my wide receiver 3 is Jordan Addison. That's funny.
Jordan Addison had a huge game for you last week.
It did. And I will tell you that Jordan Addison balled out. The first trade in the From the Sidelines league has been approved between myself and Troy. I sent him, I put Jerome Ford on the market.
I hate you.
And he sent me Jerry Jeudy and Khalil Herbert, and I accepted the trade. So, first trade in the Dynasty League has officially happened. It's sitting in the chat right now, so you can evaluate it on your own, take a look at it. I like Jerome Ford, but I don't need him because I have an abundance of running backs. But he offered me Jerry Jeudy. I was like, hey man, I get an upgrade at receiver because I wanted to get T. Higgins off of him, but he wouldn't budge on T. Higgins.
Oh no, he ain't budging on that.
It doesn't mean I wasn't gonna try. I was gonna try. Because a lot of people panicked. A lot of people panicked, just like people are panicking on Garrett Wilson right now. And I'm like, I'm not panicking. In Dynasty, I'm definitely not panicking on Garrett Wilson. You got me fucked up. In season long, like one season, I can understand. Because you have no idea what the fuck's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if I did Garrett Wilson like I did on a lot of my teams, I'm not getting rid of him.
Well, I'm definitely not jumping off the Joe Burrow train in a Dynasty League.
No. In season long, you've got to consider. Hopefully, you have a good second quarterback if you drafted him in your season long leagues. Speaking of fantasy leagues, I need the rest of From the Sidelines to get the fuck into fantasy NBA league so I can set the damn draft.
I'm in.
Draft. I know. We only got 3 of us in. I need listen.
Is it me, you, and Moo?
Listen, Buop, Zamora, Moolage, Mel, bring your asses. I'm ready to bring in the outsiders after y'all come in.
Where'd you at?
I can't bring them in until I want to get it. I want to make sure all of us get in first, and then I want to bring in. Then I can bring in Jew Fresh, probably bring in Prime, probably most likely bring in Willie, and then
Shit, I would have already approved. Like you can just go ahead and put you in because we're trying to get to 12.
Yeah, we will get to 12.
Yeah.
I've been determined to get 12-team leagues all year. I even got our league to 12 for the first time ever, and not too bad. But I'm in too many damn fantasy leagues. I'll tell you that right now. That shit's crazy.
I am too.
This shit's fucking crazy. It's fun, but damn,
it's hectic.
It's hectic, but I'm glad it's all on. I'm glad I can do it all from my phone.
Most definitely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that has wrapped up another phenomenal show of Gentlemen's Talk. We appreciate the chat. You got a long YouTube handle, but I'm gonna say it anyway. The basketball goats came from Philly. Kobe and Wilt, appreciate you coming through. Akeem Benny Nets for life, appreciate you for coming through as well. We appreciate all of our fans coming out, keeping the TikTok hot. We got a whole bunch more TikToks coming for you. Don't you worry, I got them loaded up. Appreciate y'all for getting us our 5th TikTok to surpass 2,000 views. So y'all must be really feeling this because it's great watching some of these TikToks just blow up like that out of nowhere. Some of y'all really enjoyed the Dynasty Draft live. So hopefully
I don't blame them. That shit was wild.
The plan is to come back and do the same thing for the Dynasty because it is going to be a Dynasty NBA draft. It's going to be different. I've never done a Dynasty NBA draft. I don't think any of us have. So this is going to be different. So we're definitely going to do a Dynasty NBA draft, and I'm looking forward to that because I have no idea what kind of draft strategy to use. Because basketball is not like football. These guys can play until they're in their 40s. It's different. So we'll see. It's going to be fun, though. I'm looking forward to it. I want to draft in October. I want to draft before the season kicks off, so I need to get everybody in there so I can set the date so we can go live. And ideally, I want to go ahead and go live on a Wednesday so we could just do it as a Gentleman's Talk episode and just do it that way.
That would be fire.
So that's the plan. We got another round of 32 coming y'all way. Give us some time. We just got the list together. I'm not gonna tell you what it is. I don't want to spoil it, but it's gonna be dope. All I'm gonna say is it's for the culture.
Shout out to my boy Big Homie for helping with the list, man.
Big Homie, man, we got to get you to come through, man. We got to do a part 2 of the Sync game, man. You gotta talk to us. You gotta put us on game on some more stuff. Actually, what's funny, real quick story is I actually put Big Homie on game on the Chanel that my wife had bought me. And he finally found it, but he ended up buying the small bottle. I was like, fam, you got to get the big bottle. He's like, yeah, I know, because I'm already like halfway through the small bottles. You got to get the big bottle of that Chanel. So, so I got to get him on. Got to get my boy Maurice on too, man. Let them boys just talk sense, educate us on all the things. I'm gonna work on getting this interview set up possibly as early as next week. I'm gonna see if these guys got time before the second season kicks off for the new flag football league. So I'll put that together. So DJ Prime, if you listen, I'm about to hit you up here in a little bit, try to talk about some things. DJ Michael B, any closeout words for us?
Y'all already know what it is, man. Y'all can catch me back basket to basket on Monday. Of course, tomorrow, as GQ said earlier, you tune in to PVT with Zamora and Willie. That's embracing the bias. They're doing a lot more football stuff these days, including basketball. So that is definitely a show you want to check out. And of course, each and every Friday, we got one of the flagship shows with Inside the Huddle. Mr. GQ said it's going to be him and Moo. If I get off working time, I'll probably try and just stop by and make some picks, have fun. I know if you've been following us for a while, we had the season-long bet last year. Not having one this year, but I mean, we'll probably do some fun stuff as NFL goes along, or some short bets or whatever, Do some fun things with the NFL, do some fun things with the NBA. I do miss talking football. By the way, my real closeout statement is Jay Norvell's a bitch.
Facts. I ain't even mad at you. I will start this, I will preface this, and I will say I took an L this past weekend in our fantasy league. One of the fantasy leagues, sorry.
I didn't even remember that.
I did lose to my co-host. I talked a lot of shit, but I talk shit for a reason, because if you take our career head to head, it's not even close. So this is now the 4th time that I have ever lost to DJ Michael B in fantasy football, but it's okay. Oh yeah, I keep receipts. So this is the 4th
That's
time.
Crazy. I don't even know.
I'm petty with this rivalry that we have. So
I promise you, like I'm sitting here thinking in my head like maybe twice. Damn.
Like I was very upset because I lost to him by 4 points, and all I had to do, but not me. All that had to happen is if I would have just simply had Drake London start and he decided to actually show up and play football, this conversation wouldn't happen. But it happened. It's okay. It's fantasy. Losses happen. It's okay.
I left some points on the bench too, a lot. This shit's crazy.
As we say, I will get my get back in due time.
Yeah, we're in what? We're in 4 different leagues together. So like,
yeah, so we got plenty of matchups. So CJ's league don't really count. That's like practice because I don't even look at that lineup. It's so stacked. I just make sure ain't nobody injured and I keep it pushing. But we appreciate everybody coming through. Appreciate y'all checking the show out. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, follow, man. You know, by all means, you know, hit us up. Y'all got some show ideas, or hey, if you want to be a guest, hey man, hit us up. We can talk about it. Talk to us. Tell us what you bring into the fold. Hey man, let's sit down and talk about it. All my small businesses out there, man. If y'all trying to get a little bit more promotion for yourself as well, man, shoot us some live reads, man. If you shoot us some live reads, man, I'm telling you right now, either myself or DJ Mike B, man, we'll read y'all stuff on the air. Y'all get us some custom discount codes. We'll put them on the bottom of the screen for y'all. Help us help you. Let's all make this bread together. It's enough money in this world for all of us to eat.
Facts.
I say it like that. I am Mr. GQ. This is my co-host, the greatest co-host. Wouldn't ask for a better co-host because there ain't one in my man, DJ Micah B. And on that freaking note, we are out.
When I'm in my zone, I feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm unknown to the world that's full of clones. My originality's focused on principalities broken. I'm loaning my heart and soul to the game that's scared to pay it back. And failure is a motherfucker.